Welcome back. We are on page 9, and in your paper pack you will find this pearly designed sheet, and on the back it is a whitish pearly color. Now, since there are several pearly colors in this collection, from here on out I am going to be flipping over and showing you which one I'll be cutting from. I hope that you can see this okay. It kind of has a pink tone to it, but not really. Grab both of them out of your paper collection. Page 9 and 10 does have the same base paper, so we're going to take care of that all at once to save some time. Measure over 7 inches on both of these. I'm just doubling mine up. And cut. Put these in reserves. Measure over 7 1/4 inches and cut it. Stick one off to the side for our page 10, and we are going to verify we are going the right way, and this is 7 inches across. Let's go ahead and prepare for this page. Grab a piece of white cardstock from your reserves. Let's grab those majestic circles, and we are going to go ahead and die cut this. So once you've die cut yours, we're going to kind of do the same thing we did in the beginning. We're going to lightly ink around the edges with some of our silver, and then lightly go over around the edges with the silver. Then we're going to go ahead and put our diamond stickles around that, and we are going to let that dry. We're also going to need this out of our cutout, and I lightly inked around the edges there. So let that dry, put that off to the side. In our reserves we should have some white cardstock. This is 8 1/2 inches long, and I can go ahead and trim that up. But what we're looking to get is 2 3-inch wide strips. So I'm going to measure over 3 inches, cut, measure over 3 inches, cut. Now in your reserves, the trimmings off this, if you flip it over, it's that pearl color. We're going to measure over 2 7/8 of an inch and cut it, and measure over again 2 7/8 and cut it. Okay, let's place one of our strips down. We are going to score it at 4 7/8 of an inch, and I need to use my little ruler here to make a mark. And then we're also going to score it at 5 1/16. So let's go ahead and score. And fold. Grab your other one, same thing, 4 7/8 score and 5 1/16 score. Let's check and see how this fits. The longest part is what we're after. If you were to place that pearly paper down, you will have white border around here, and you're not on the score line. Let's go ahead and glue down our first piece. And we'll do it on our second piece. Okay. Let's go ahead and attach our top piece here. Trying to keep it even. These are some really long tabs, so if you would like to cut yours down, go on ahead. I'm just going to push that right back up. And I'm just going to do this so that it's even. And if it's not, I'll have to fix it. Looks pretty good to me. Okay. Flip those on up. Let's grab a couple magnets, and we're going to place actually the bottom one first. And I'm going to place that up about an inch and a quarter up from the bottom should be good. Let that dry. Then what we're going to do is place the mate on top of the paper. We're going to put a little bit of glue, a dot right in the center. Make sure you're all straight. And we're going to bring this over the top, making sure that it remains straight. We will push down, and now we know where this magnet needs to place. Whoops. In your reserves, you will find this long piece. On the back, it's the pearl color. It is the same thing as this. We're going to measure over 2 7/8 of an inch and cut it. Measure over again 2 7/8 of an inch and cut it. Now let's just double these right on up. Measure over 4 3/4 of an inch and cut it. Check to make sure yours is going to fit and clear your score mark. If it does and you don't need to do any further trimming, let's apply glue. Get some on that. And put these down. Good. Okay, you're going to want to peel off the back, mount this onto white cardstock, and cut around. Now, what I've done is I put a little bit of the dried baby's breath underneath there. I glued it. Then you're going to want to put your pop-up squares. And we're just going to press this right on down to the center. If you're not using this, that's okay. It looks good without. I am going to slide something back behind here to do this. This piece, the majority of it gets placed right here. So let's add our glue behind the circle to get that down. And you are going to want to put glue up here. And it's going to take a moment to glue down, of course. We've got stickles and everything else on that. Now, this page, what I wanted to do with it was so that the bride is able to slide, a bunch of things in there. Thicker photo mats or whatever she wanted to do. And that comes out really pretty, I think. The next thing you'll want to do is in your cutouts, you got these 2 really pretty rings. You can do them any way you want. I'm going to go with it like this. I am not going to back this. I am going to put a little glue behind there and glue that right down, right like that. In your Jolie's pack, you will find some flat back pearls, and I am going to just place those. Let's go ahead and flip this up, and we are going to cut, and I'm using the 3/4 inch thin, and I'm just going to cut enough to reach the top to the bottom of the printed paper for each side. Whoops. Cut 2 of these, one to fit this side and one to fit this side, and you'll use your clear glue, of course, and we're just going to glue that down just like that. So let's do that. Next thing I'm going to do is cut a piece go across the bottom here, and a piece to go across the top. Perfect fit. And I'm going to glue this down. This page is complete. Let's go ahead and flip that over, score tape around, and mount that in our book. We're on page 10. Let's grab a piece of cardstock, measure over 3.5 inches, and cut it. Grab your die plates, and we are going to center this and run that through the die cutter. We're going to want to cut from here to here and here to here to release this top piece. I do stick mine on my paper cutter so I can keep a straight line on either side. This is what you should have. I'm double checking myself. I'm actually going the wrong way. 7 inches across. This is looking at my page. I'm going to place a piece of score tape down one side, and we are going to mount this as a side pocket. And I am actually going to turn this for a moment so I can get this on straight. And then I'm just going to wrap my flaps around the back and tack it down. In your reserves, you will find this sheet. Flip it over, and it's that pearl color. What you're going to do is place it down, bring it up to the edge there, and you can leave a little bit of white showing if you'd like. All we're doing is measuring and marking with a pencil where we need to trim to fit this. So let's go ahead and do that. Once you've done that, just place it right on down, and you will want to look so you can see where the bottom is, and you'll make a mark, and we'll trim that. Now let's glue this down. Grab a piece of lace, and we're going to trim this to fit, and I am using 1 3/4 of an inch wide there. And all I'm going to do is glue that right on down. So let's do that. In your Jolie's pack, grab this, and you are going to need your bling too, but first let's do this because we don't want to put bling underneath this. It's going to make it raise too much. So now all we're going to do is cut a strip that's going to fit from here down to here and glue it down, and we'll do the same thing up here. This page is complete. Let's put our score tape on the back and mount that in our book. In your paper pack, you will find these. Now we're going to cut both of these for each one of our pages. So I am going to turn this one upside down. I'm going to put them together. And now I'm going to measure over 7 inches and cut. Stick these off to the side until we need them. Let's take a look at what we got. Okay, now turn it back around to where you have your image right here. We're just going to stick those two together, measure over 7 1/4 inches, and cut. The one with the birds on it is, we'll set that off to the side. We're going to go ahead and work with this one. In your paper pack, you will find this. It's like the greenish color with the dots. On the other side, it looks like this. Measure over 8 inches and cut. Put this in reserves. We're going to get to this in a moment. Let's grab a piece of white cardstock. Okay, first things first. From the top of your page down, measure down 3 1/4 inches and make a mark. This is an easy way to do this. You're going to grab your white cardstock, and what you are going to do, what we're trying to do is make a nice diagonal pocket, and we're going to have it on both pages, so we want to be precise in the angle. So the easiest way is to just slip this. First, let's slip it on over here. From this corner, you're going to have an overhang, and from this corner, you're going to have an overhang, just like that. Once you have it placed like this, to get yourself lined up, now bring it up here. What we're trying to do is line up this mark right here to the tip here, bringing this side down to about right here. And I hope you can see that. I'm going to zoom in and then move my paper. Right here. And bring the top edge here down to the corner. And I'm going to move it again. Down to the corner. Okay. Once you have it like that, all you need to do is take your pencil, and you don't have to be precise on this, and just draw a line. Come down and over. Now, with your paper cutter, that's where we're going to get a nice straight line. You're going to trim this way and that way, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is what you should have. Now, if you were to place this, the tip on that mark and the tip of this comes straight over past this tip. Just line it up that way. That is going to be the easiest way. If you need to move it over just a hair, do so that you have a little overhang. Just like that. Once you have it like that, if you notice, you come back around, you will have some nice edges to fold. And all you're looking to do right now is just to get a fold mark, and then we can trim anything we need to. So we know that this is going to be straight across the bottom and a nice diagonal across this way. Let's get our scissors. After we've done the folding, then we can cut that notch out. Before we glue, we're going to check our work. And because that's going to come up too far, we're just going to trim that so it doesn't peek out. Okay, here is our paper. Let's see how we did. And if I fold that back around and I fold that, that looks like a nice fit to me. Okay, let's go ahead and use this before we glue anything down as our pattern. And the reason why I had you do the 8 inches is to give yourself a little room. And all I'm going to do now is draw my first line right across here. And when you put it on your paper cutter, it's going to keep you straight. And I'm going to draw a line right here. And when I put it on my paper cutter, it should go straight to here. My first cut, I'm going to do this way, and I'm actually going to cut on the left side of that line, just a hair. So I've got that cut. Next, what I'm going to do is line up this line on my paper cutter. I'm not going to worry about this, because if this line's straight on it, it's going to go straight down. So let's do that. The moment of truth, and I'll probably have some trimming up here to do, and that's fine. I'm going to slip this over. I'm not going to tack it down yet. And I'm going to place this on there. And it should fit nicely, which it does. And actually, I don't even have to trim this because this comes all the way down. We are good, so I'm going to now pull this over. I'm going to add some glue down here. Whoops. I'm out of hot glue. Out of hot glue. I'm going to go get a stick. Okay. The moment of truth, and I'll probably have some trimming up here to do, and that's fine. I'm going to slip this over. I'm not going to tack it down yet. And I'm going to place this on there. And it should fit nicely, which it does. And actually, I don't even have to trim this because this comes all the way down. We are good, so I'm going to now pull this over. I'm going to add some glue down here. Whoops. I'm out of hot glue. Out of hot glue. I'm going to go get a stick. Okay, that's down. Now I can go ahead and glue this down. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and grab our ribbon rose. Actually, I'm going to turn around this way. And cut what I need. And that should be right about there. I'm going to go ahead and trim off this netting, and then I am going to glue this right on down. So let's do that. Grab a piece of cardstock, and I am using the Berry Blossoms flowers, and I am going to use my Summer Sky. You can use whatever color you want. And I think it's a lovely color. I like that blue. Okay, also what you're going to want to do in the Berry Blossoms die, we want to get out this one. Like we did in the beginning, we're going to die cut this onto white cardstock, and we are going to then ink with the greens to make it all look leafy. We're going to do that too. Here is a trick to coloring these sometimes rather than die cutting out the flower, and then what you can do, and for me, I am going to dab a little bit of blue on this, and I'm just going to smear most of it off, and I'm just going to go right in the center lightly. Okay, I've got this. I've got to get my flower dies out. And let's run that through the die cutter. Okay, so what I've done is we did the stamping, and then I did 2 layers of the small ones together. So I've got a total of 5 flowers. I did apply my glossy accents, and then I just put for the center some prills. I also did some white roses, and we are going to need 2 of these, and I did coat it with the glossy accents. In your reserves you should find this print, and all I'm going to do with this is cut 3 butterflies out. Whoops, going the wrong way. If I can get 3 out of this, we will see. I'm going to certainly try. And I believe I can. Okay. We're going to put a coat of glossy accents on this, and we're going to let all of this dry. Once your glossy accents are dry enough, take your silver stickles and just kind of go right down the middle of the body of the butterfly there. And you don't have to go thick, just a little bit to give it something. Okay, some of this is for the next page. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one here. I think this one's dry enough. And I'm just going to glue this right on down. Oops. We're going to place the larger 1-layer flower down. Oops. We're going to take one of the smaller blue ones or whatever color you're working with. Place that down. Let's grab a white. Just put those right next to each other there. Let's grab another white one. And another small blue. Oops. And that's going to need to dry. I got some overage there. Let's grab a butterfly. Stick that up there. When your page, if your glue hasn't dried yet, you will wait. This page is complete. You will mount this in your book. We're on page 12. Let's grab this sheet. The first thing we're going to do is the same thing that we did before. From the top down, measure 3 1/4 inches and make a pencil mark. Grab a piece of cardstock. Now the diagonal goes this way. So I'm going to slip this underneath and do the same thing I did before, making sure the line hits up here, leaving me a little room. And I'm going to do the same thing down here, bringing it down to the corner. And I'm not sure if you saw this real well because I was zoomed in. All I'm going to do is draw a line just like this. Doesn't matter how crooked you are because I can't draw a straight line quickly around nothing. So once I put this on my paper cutter, it's going to make this line straight. So I'll cut this way and I'll cut that way. Okay, so I'm going to find the corner up here and I'm going to bring this down like so. I'm going to pinch it, and now all I do is fold up and the sides in. Cut out my notch. And I can actually cut that extra bit. Now in your reserves you should have this left over from the first one. So I am going to fold up my pieces, and let's see, this may not work because actually I can get it to work. Wonderful. And I'm just going to use this as my template. Line that right on up, right down here, and I'm going to draw around this. It is going to fit. That's already done for me. All I have to do is that now. Okay, I'm going to trim here, and if I need to trim this down to fit better, I will definitely do that. Alright, let's see how I did here. Wrong way. Duh. There we go. And that is a good fit. If yours, when you were cutting, it didn't allow you to fit this back on, you can grab out of your reserves the extra piece that you have. But I think you're going to be okay here. So I am ready to glue down the pocket part. But it looks like I have a little bit of trimming over here to do, which is fine. Okay. And now I'm just going to glue that down. Let's go ahead and measure and cut a piece to fit and trim off the netting on the side. Go ahead and glue mine down. Let's grab our piece and glue this down. Now, before we place any of the flowers, to make sure that our white roses, because they pop up more, does not hit the roses on the other page, we're going to go ahead and mount this in our book. I've got mine in my book. I'm going to place my first blue flower right in the center. Now, what I was talking about before is with the white flower, if you were to place it right there, just kind of hold it there with your hands, is it going to hit the other white roses? Because they do pick up push up a little more. Mine clears by putting it right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put it here, and it's going to clear. Mine are fine. Okay, I'm going to grab a butterfly. Stick that one here, and I'm thinking the other butterfly right here. Grab this cutout from the paper house, mount it onto the light chipboard, and we are just going to slide that and glue that down right like that. And for me, I am going to use a little hot glue for this. And we're just going to do that right like this. Voila. Okay, let's move on. In your paper pack, you will find these sheets. They are identical. On the other side is the pinkish marbly look. Put them together, measure over 7 inches, and cut. Okay, we do need these, so just stick them off to the side for a moment. We're going to cut those too. Measure over 7 1/4 inches and cut. On these, measure over 7 1/4 inches and cut. These are the cutoffs from the larger. They will go. Set one of these off to the side. Set these off to the side. And they should be about 5 inches by 7 1/4 inches. Let's set these off to the side with this too. That's going to be for the half page. I'm going to make sure I'm going the right way here. I'm 7 inches across. Okay, cut a piece of cardstock that is 9 3/4 inches by 6 7/8 of an inch, and then we're going to fold that in half. Grab a piece of reserve cardstock and cut it to 1 inch by 6 7/8. And then we're going to grab our scoreboard and we are going to score it at 1/2 inch right down the middle. And we're going to fold. I got mine a little bigger than a 1 inch, but that's okay. I'm going to trim mine here. Okay, I got mine trimmed down to the inch and it's done right. Let's grab a piece of score tape. And we are going to apply score tape like we would do a normal hinge, but I'm going to put 2 rows here. It is going to overlap on either side of the score mark, making sure I don't get it on there. If you have any overhang of score tape, you definitely are going to want to trim that off. Okay, first things first. Your card opens on this side, flip it over. Okay, we are just going to put this down like we would. We're going to bring, this is where the crease is, we'll bring it all the way up to the edge like that. So let's do that. If I can get this off. So the crease right here, this way, and I can't really see if I'm getting right on there or not, but if not, I'll trim mine. If you don't get it exact and you have overhang over the top, you will trim that. And I look good on my end. I am going to remove the other side. We will need magnets for this page. And before you stick this down, double check we're 7 inches across. And I am. All I'm going to do here is kind of center it as best I could, up and down wise. And I'm just going to leave, about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch of the pink paper showing on that side. I'm going to press that down. Okay. Okay, let's get some magnets. And because this is going to have cardstock, and then more possibly that you'll be able to put some mats in here, we are going to put a few magnets down. So first one is going to go right there. Okay. I am going to flip this, put the magnet down, find where it needs to go, glue that down. The next thing I'm going to do is grab another one, flip this completely over, figure out where that needs to be. That is a real simple way of doing something like this to make sure that it grabs through, especially if you're going to have extra mats underneath. In your paper pad, you will have this print. I'm going to bring it up. It's like a white, really pretty print. We've used it before. And on the back, it looks like this. Measure over 4 3/4 of an inch and cut it. The large piece just set off to the side. Measure over 6 3/4 of an inch and cut. Okay, we're going to go ahead and make sure that this fits, and you will center that, and you will have white all the way around. So let's glue that down. The next thing is using the Majestic Circles, is die cut this out and do our light inking around and around here. The diamond stickles. You will also use the circle to die cut out on white cardstock this piece. Now once you have that, you will notice that there are holes down here. I didn't particularly care for the holes to be showing on this the way I have it all situated. So all I'm going to do is place a piece of white cardstock behind it, fill in those holes, and then I'm going to carefully cut around. I don't know why it just bugged me, so for what I'm doing, and I'm going to show you what I'm actually doing. Once I get this down, I would then put this down here. We're then going to get this out of our die cuts. We are going to mount this onto the light chipboard, and then it's going to place right like that. So let's get all your pieces together, and then we'll start layering this down. I'm going to glue this piece down, and because we have the stickles and it's wet, and not wet anymore, but it was, is that it will tend to warp, just like anything. So I want to make sure I get that to where it's not going to warp. And make sure it all sticks down. If some of it kind of lifts up, that actually looks really good. Kind of gives it a dimension, so I'm not going to push down on the edges too much. Kind of looks cool. Okay. The next thing is I only covered up one set of holes, and that's the one that goes down, facing down, because the one on the top will get covered. And we're just going to center that. Let's go ahead and glue down our bell. I'm just going to place that right like this. And I did have to use my craft knife to get in between that bow. In your Jolie's pack, you will find a couple pearls, and we are going to use my hot glue for this. I'm going to glue those down. Okay, let's go ahead and open it up. In your reserves, you will find these two sheets. They are the same cut. Put them together. Measure over 6 3/4 of an inch and cut. Okay, these should fit up and down, but they're going to be too wide. So on this one, just measure over 4 3/4 of an inch and trim. On this one, measure over this way, 4 3/4 of an inch and trim. These should fit now, and all we're going to do is glue those down. So let's do that. Okay. Let's find our sheet for that one. Okay, in your reserves you will have this one. It is not the one that we're holding off for our other pages. It's not this one. In fact, if you'd like to verify, this is about 4 3/4 of an inch wide. So what we are going to do is measure over 6 3/4 of an inch and cut it. It should fit. If you need to do a little trimming, do that. Let's go ahead and glue this down. Let's get our rectangle die out. On a piece of white cardstock, go ahead and run that through the die cutter, and this is the largest frame. As soon as you've got yours done, we are going to apply glue right along here and the bottom, and we are going to leave this up here open and open here in case they would like to slide something behind, maybe a picture mat or something, so they can get in behind still after this dries. Okay, let's get our piece for this. I am missing my next size down rectangular die set. I just spent 10 minutes running around here trying to see if it fell on the floor. In your reserves, you will find this square piece. On the back, it's this. If you'd like to die cut that and place it down in the middle, at this point, all I'm going to do is just do a square. And I do need my pencil for that because all I'm going to do is set this over so I can still see the dots here and here. And I'm going to make a mark there where that should be, and make a mark right here. So now I know where I need to trim, or you can just use your ruler and cut a piece. Okay, so I cut mine out. I'm just going to put glue to the back of this and mount that. Okay, in the meantime, in your Berry Blossoms stamp set, you'll find this one. This is completely optional, but I am going to stamp up here in the corner with some silver ink. And like I said, it is completely optional if you don't want that. It's real light, so it's not a dark. This page is complete. Let's go ahead and put score tape around the outside, one down the middle, and the two short ones, and mount this in our book. We're on that little half page. I had you set these off to the side along with the last page, so let's get these out. Let's put these together and measure over 4 3/8 of an inch and cut them. Okay, let's verify that you are fitting. And if you need to trim off a hair, go ahead. What we're looking for is to be able to have white up here, white down here, a little bit of white here, but enough white over here. We're going to have a pocket here and here. You want to be able to have enough room for the folding around the edges. So if you think that maybe you're going to be too tight when you do get that folding around where it's going to hit your hinge where we turn, go ahead and trim off an extra 1/16 of an inch or even an 1/8 of an inch, whatever you feel that you need to do. We're going to work on both of these pages at once. Cut 2 pieces of white cardstock that is 3 inches by 5 3/4 of an inch. On both of these, we're going to grab out of our Regal borders and we're going to place our die plates like this, centering it and running it through the die cutter on each one of these. So let's do that. Okay, let's grab our score tape and mount our pockets to each one of these, making sure we're straight. And we're just going to wrap around to the back and tack those down. So let's do this on both of them. In your reserves, you will find this large strip that has a bunch of writing. I've already cut mine. What you're going to do is measure over 4 1/4 inches and cut it. And this is what you will have. So let's do that. Place your piece down to make sure you fit. You should fit perfectly. Let's give ourselves a little bit of room. Let's go ahead and turn your paper like this, but measure over 1 3/4 of an inch and cut, and then you'll measure again 1 3/4 of an inch and cut. So now you should have 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/4. They are going to be longer. What you're going to do is in your Regal borders, you're going to find this plate, and this is the one that fits under this. So in order to get yours to line up correctly, I suggest putting your piece down on your pocket like this. Bring your plate to where it would fit underneath that. Then all you have to do is just pull it down, hold it there to get it where it's supposed to be. Now place this on your die cutter and run it through. And the reason why I say to do it like that is sometimes we get a little off, maybe you're a little shifted more over this way with this than on the other piece. So you'll do this on both pieces. So let's go ahead and run that through our die cutter. The only thing we have left to do now is trim this up to fit. So how I do it is I just kind of put it where it's supposed to be there and then shift it over a little bit so I can see where the bottom's supposed to be. And we'll do this on both of them. And then we're just going to trim these. And then we're going to glue these down. I've got mine down. Grab some of your bling, and all we are going to do is glue this down to form underneath this. So you'll go ahead and do that and use your white glue, or if you're good at the hot glue without getting it all over, you can do that. So let's go ahead and get the bling down. Let's grab our book. This is what you should have. So let's go ahead and glue this one down, and then we'll flip it over and we're going to glue that one down. The half page is complete. Go ahead and flip this one back over. Grab some of your half-inch lace, the thin, and cut a piece to fit right over the hinge mark like I've done, and glue that down to cover that. Let's move on. We're on our last page. We're on page 14. It's our final page. We had this sitting off to the side. Let's grab that. Make sure you're going the right way, 7 inches across. Grab a piece of cardstock and measure over 4 inches and cut. So we are 4 inches, and mine is 8.5 inches wide there. Grab your Regal borders, and we're going to use the same die we used on the half. So grab the top piece and then place this down and run that through the die cutter. Okay, you will cut to release. I came in with my paper cutter and came in straight to the sides. Lay a piece of score tape, and we're going to mount this as our pocket. Trying to keep this semi-straight. And we're just going to bring our flaps around the back and tack that down. In your reserves, you will find this sheet on the back. It looks like this. We're just going to go straight across with this because we have some lace to lay down or trim. So all I'm going to do is measure up what I need, make a mark with my pencil, and trim. And then we're going to measure over the 7 inches and trim that to fit so it will fit right like that. So let's do that. Apply glue, and let's glue our little panel piece down. I'm using my 3-inch beaded sequin, and I am going to cut this to fit. And now I'm going to glue this down. Now, this part you will apply glue, but I do recommend placing a piece of cardstock back behind here so that the glue does not go through to the other side. So let's go ahead and glue that down. I think mine is dry. I did make a second one of these, so this is completely optional. And I am going to glue this down right here. So if you don't want that, then don't add it. This page is complete. Go ahead, flip it over, put your score tape, and mount this in your book. I've got mine mounted. We're done with this part of it. We are going to attach our drits and add anything needed to the front and the back. It is always recommended to attach the drits after you've made your photo mat. So if you want to attach it now, we're going to leave a little bit of slack. So let's get those drits hook and eyes out. You will want a binder clip for this to help. Grab this side of the drits, and we are going to apply some of our glue. So now that we have our place, we're just going to put our clip there to hold that down. Let's grab this part. I'm going to be using this to thread through the little eyes there. Plain white ribbon you can use, and that's what a lot of people use. You can even use lace. So I'm just gonna come in one side and thread it through, and then of course I'm going to be trimming up this so that it isn't too much at the end, and then I'm going to feed this through the other side. So it's going to look like this. When this is dry, I'm going to give this about 5 more minutes, but when this is dry, we will be hooking this on and wrapping this around the backs. I think mine's dry now, so all I'm going to do is hook mine. I don't have my picture mats quite in there yet, so I am going to leave a little bit of room for it. And I am going to just pinch it right here for what I think I need. And for me, I am just going to trim some of this off. And I like to use a little hot glue. We do have something coming over the top of that back there, so if it gets a little bit squirty out on the sides, then it'll get covered up. So I'm just going to go like that. Let's flip it back over, and as you can see, I have some slack to allow for me to add more. See that? Okay, on top of here, we have some Jolie's embellishments. So I am going to go with, let's see here, that one is gorgeous. And this is the one I'm going to choose. Now you can choose any one you want. Now, one thing about the adhesive on the back of this, it is not going to stay. You do need to add glue to the back of this. And I'm going to try and clip mine down. And if you have any of these work great for getting in there. Otherwise, just use your other one. And I'm just going to get that right in the middle. Okay, I have prepared 3 little white roses, and I put the diamond stickles on it. In the meantime, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to use this really pretty one here for right there. And again, I am going to add glue to the back, and I am going to clamp it down. To hold it. And we'll just let those dry. Now while I'm waiting for this to dry, I did use this blue pen, the one I showed you earlier, and created a picture mat. It does come out it does come out blue when you're using it. However, it does dry clear, it says so. The other picture mat is holding up just fine. I don't know yet over time, but it seems like it's a good product. And I will be using the rest of this pen, of course. To do my picture mats throughout this. So I just wanted to let you know that if you do go and pick it up, it will come through blue at first, and then it does dry clear. To get this to even work, when you receive this, the tip is completely white. You'd have to depress it, push it down, and keep pushing it down until the tip turns blue. And then it's ready to use. I think this is dry enough. I prepared 3 of the white, and I put the diamond stickles on. I think I mentioned that. And I'm just going to, I have everything stuck to me. Just stick them right along the side here. This is complete. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. In the end of the tutorial, you will find information on how to contact me in case you have some questions. Please thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Until our next tutorial. I'll see you next time.